Hey, this is Jeff from McCoy from Jesus. I wanted to do a UFO roundup. I think 2021 is going to be big on UFOs, and I try to look at the last sort of 3 months or so of stories and just try to still it. I'm going to put a link in the description where I was on 80 Robles' channel, and we did about a 30-minute long conversation about UFOs and that sort of thing. So I wanted to go over. So if you want a primer on what I believe and why I think they involve occultic and demonic activity without being prejudiced, I just want to point you to that video and then come back to this one. All right, so maybe we'll do this quarterly, something like that. And let's start. All right, so there's an article trending a lot. Harvard professor says an alien visited in 2017 and more is coming. All right, what's going on with this article? As far as I can tell, so there was an object, name of which I don't know how they pronounce that. There was an object that came from outside the solar system and kind of passed through, that this Harvard professor thinks is a bit of alien technology. And why was that? It was because it was very flat. They think it might be more cigar shaped, more long than it is thick. And it accelerated when I guess it came into contact with the sun and the particles that emanate from the sun, kind of like a solar sail. So he thinks it is discarded space junk. I would not. I think I would need more evidence for that. I'm going to post all these links in here. No naturally occurring space body we've seen has looked like it or even close. Okay, that's fair. That would make its geometry more extreme by at least a few times in aspect ratio. It's width to its height. He likens its surface to that of shiny metal. But the anomaly that really pushed Loeb towards his ET hypothesis was the way it moved. The excess push away from the sun, that was the thing that broke the camel's back. Using physics, scientists can calculate the exact path, but so they saw that not just the sun's pull from gravity, but that it got a push. Right. At first, the explanation seemed simple. Simple comets show a similar acceleration, but they didn't see the trail coming from the comet. So he's positing that it was something akin to a light sail that's used for probes, or I guess is considered to be used for probes, and was discarded by an ancient civilization. That, if ever, was, I mean, that's interesting, but it does seem that is highly speculative without a lot of information. Loeb admits his theories have raised astronomers' eyebrows. No kidding. Uh, because he was saying before, is we find no compelling evidence to favor an alien explanation for this thing I'm not going to pronounce. They believe we are special and unique. I think it's a prejudice that should be abandoned. I don't think they would care. I think most of them are secular. I don't think they're coming from say, a worldview like me that doesn't maybe is prejudiced against aliens, and I don't think these scientists would care. Loeb said the skeptics are bending over backwards to assign natural origins to the objects. Well, because what are the odds that you have space junk from an alien civilization just passing through our solar system? especially, and that does not seem very high. A random just thing passing through, and again, we don't know what material is made of. Seems to be a lot higher possibility. I mean, how much space junk is going through the galaxy? I mean, there is a lot of empty space. So anyway, the acceptance that an alien race may come, even though it would trigger a serious search for more trash. I say, go search for it. All right, let's go to the next article. So anyway, I just to clarify, classify that as interesting. Would need a lot more evidence there. All right, multiple witnesses spot UFOs over Hawaiian island of Wahoo. Multiple people witnessed and videotaped a bright blue, glowing oblong, unidentified flying object hovering above the skies of Oahu last Tuesday before it nosedived into the ocean. 8:30 in the evening, videos show strange mass both in sky and water. They captured one of the videos. Something is in the sky. What is that? Okay. Another woman named Mariah saw the object passing over Princess Kahanu Estates. Officials from the FAA said there was no aircraft or incidents or accidents in the area of this time, but multiple witnesses reported seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean. Mariah followed the UFO, which was silent. Key point there. Silent. All right, so something's traveling through the atmosphere silently, larger than a telephone pole, for a mile until it dropped into the ocean. In one of her videos, she used her saying it landed in the water. Okay, whatever it is. After officers arrived on the scene, Mariah spotted a second light, which was white, coming from the same direction as the blue lit object. Okay, so we have a credible UFO sighting in Hawaii. Remember a couple years back we had the video from the government that's going to be from I don't forget if they're Navy planes or Air Force planes. Anyway, in the COVID bill, they put a UFO disclosure on the government, 180-day countdown. So we'll see. I don't know if their report will be classified or unclassified for the public, but I thought I would mention that is a big thing in the news. That would be cool. All right, New York City UFO sightings in 2020 are up a lot from 2018. Okay, so you're seeing a lot more flying objects. Late on June 8th, a Bronx site, I guess that's somebody from the Bronx, watched 30 objects flying in a perfect line in perfect synchronicity. That's good vocabulary. That looked like a bunch of moving stars. I don't drink or take any drugs whatsoever. I'm not a UFO conspiracy theorist. Look, I believe in these. I believe these are accurate. I do believe in UFOs. I just believe they, uh, and for reasons, again, go see the video. There's a high correlation between occultic activity and seeing UFOs, or occultic activity and somebody else seeing UFOs. On the night of September 15th, Brooklynite stuck his head out of the bathroom window with orange metallic orbs. So just orbs. I guess this seems like more like energy, I guess, is what they're seeing. By the time I called my son, they were gone. I could not believe my eyes. Okay, so we're getting... Oh, Davin. We're getting a bunch of sightings. Now, let's get to Miley Cyrus. Claims she was once chased down by some sort of UFO. This is from October 21st. Also in the New York Post. In a new interview, Miley Cyrus claims she once saw a UFO and made eye contact with its driver. I was driving through San Bernardino with my friend, and I got chased down by some sort of UFO. I'm pretty sure what I saw, but I bought weed wax from a guy in a van in front of a taco shop. So it could have been the weed wax. Uh, in front of a taco shop. Okay, maybe not the best, but I believe her. I did see it flying, and my friends saw it too. There were a couple of other cars on the road, and they all stopped to look. So I think what I saw was real. Holy shit, being honest there. She didn't feel threatened by the counter, and even made eye contact with the being sitting in the driver's seat. I think that's what really shook me, looking into the eyes of something I couldn't quite wrap my head around. I was shaken for like 5 days. It bleeped me up. I couldn't really look at the sky the same. I thought they might come back. All right, so let's before we let's keep going. This is from the day before October 20th. Demi Lovato has been chatting with aliens, and I believe her, but I don't believe they're aliens. Why use ice cream and sad music? Get over a breakup when you can talk to aliens instead. Demi Lovato shared on Instagram that she spent a few days in Joshua Tree with Dr. Stephen Greer, one of the world's foremost authorities on the subject of UFOs, ET intelligence, and initiating peaceful contact with ET civilizations, according to his Instagram bio. Over the past couple months, I have dug deep into the science of consciousness. Okay, so this is why I'm saying that a lot of the UFO activity we're seeing comes from the demonic realm. In the science of consciousness and experience not only peace and serenity, so this is straight out of the occult, straight out of the New Age, like I've never known, but I have also witnessed the most incredibly profound sightings both in the sky as well as feet away from me. She captioned a series of photos and videos of UFOs in the night sky. Lovato, along with Greer and his Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind team, are encouraging just 1% of the world's population to meditate and make contact. He's getting people to communicate with demons, people, with aliens, so the governments would have to acknowledge the truth about extraterrestrial life among us. The former Disney star then promoted Greer's C5 app, which costs $10, and is required to make contact with the otherworldly beings. She then told fans not to worry if it doesn't work immediately. P.S. If it doesn't happen on the first try, keep trying. It took me several sessions to tap into the deep enough level of meditation to make contact. Oh, straight out of the New Age, people. She didn't reveal what she and the aliens conversed about, but we only assume she yeah, blah blah blah. Page 6 stuff. Okay, let's keep going. Now, if someone is a non-Christian and into UFOs and thinking I'm judging this weird, besides the other video, please stay with me here. I'm going to keep going, and I'm actually going to do some readings from a book by Hugh Ross, just a few excerpts that I think will help put the pieces together. All right, so leaks of Pentagon reports, I guess going back to that thing from a couple years ago, this article is from December 4th, mention unidentified UFOs. Details from 2 allegedly classified intelligence reports from the Pentagon on apparent UFOs have been leaked, including photos of purported unidentified aerial phenomenon. According to the debrief.org, the report states that the task force is considering the possibility that these unidentified objects could be operated by intelligence of unknown origin. I would agree with that, although I think I might know the origin. One source from the U.S. intelligence community said the 8018 intelligence report purposely included details of previous military encounters with apparent UFOs. Hugh Ross likes to use the residual UFO So our UFO description, essentially, if you can't eliminate it by natural phenomenon, there's a certain, not all unidentified stuff is means it's aliens. You can explain it by various things, but the stuff that can't be explained, that's what's left over. That's what we're interested in here. So here you can kind of see the photo. I believe this is what I used for my thumbnail. It shows an unidentified silver cube-shaped object, and the document reportedly indicates that the object was hovering or completely motionless when military pilots encountered it. So these things are defying the laws of physics, which is one of the things I think we should make note of. I highly recommend the book Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men's, which goes over a lot of this. All three individuals on the site, based on the photo, the object appeared to be at an altitude of 30 to 35,000 feet and approximately 1,000 feet from the fighter jet. Off the east coast of the U.S. A list of possible explanations for these mysterious airborne encounters are provided in the report, and that the report stated the potential for UAP to be alien or non-human technology was of legitimate consideration. Okay. Alien in the most generic sense. I do not believe these are extraterrestrials. I do believe we are dealing with the demonic here. Additionally, the most shocking aspect of the 2020 intelligence report was the inclusion of what sources described as an extremely clear photograph of an unidentifiable triangular aircraft. The photograph, reported captured in 2019, also from inside the cockpit of a military fighter jet, depicted an apparent aerospace vehicle described as a large equilateral triangle. I've heard reports in that from New Agey circles of the triangle thing. In decades with the intelligence, I've never seen anything like this. Okay. Now let's go to space.com. There are possible explanations for the Navy pilot's observations. This guy from SETI. So I think he would have an interest in discovering extraterrestrial intelligence. He pointed out, for example, that the sightings occur off the coast, as did a similar 2004 and something in December 2017. Coastal regions are where you might expect to find a rival nation's advanced reconnaissance craft, because these incursions over the continental United States would be more obvious and easily detected. He also noted that, according to a recent Time story, the Navy pilots began spotting the UFOs after their jet's radar system was upgraded. That detail suggests the sightings might stem from some sort of software bug or instrument issue, he said. As anyone who uses Microsoft products knows, whenever you upgrade any technical product, there are always problems. Such reasoning is bolstered by the current tendency of UFOs to manifest as blobs or blurs on the display of advanced instruments rather than as crisply defined objects in cell phone photos. The sightings always recede to the edge of what technology allows you to do. The aliens, this is the key here, guys. The aliens are kind of keeping pace with technology. Common sense also argues against jumping to the ET conclusion. If these are indeed alien spacecraft, what exactly are they doing? Why are they sent here across vast gulfs of space and time? If the aliens are here, you gotta say they're the best house guests ever because they never do anything. Now, this is a legitimate point, but I want you to focus on the keeping pace with technology, and this is where we're going to go with our video. Let's go to an excerpt. I'm gonna show some read a little bit from the Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men. I'll put a link in from where you can get it on Amazon. Okay, so I wanted to go over an important point here where something that goes along with Hugh Ross's book, Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men. I believe he wrote it with Ken Samples. And he and I share and among us, many of us Christians, that we're really dealing with the demonic in many cases here. The sightings always recede to the edge of what technology allows you to do. The aliens are kind of keeping pace with technology. UFOs are not a new phenomenon. They're not even from within the last century phenomenon. They go back quite some time. So I wanted to read a few things. Now, the RUFO designation that Hugh Ross uses, that is that means residual UFOs. So he says they're both real and non-physical, and as such, they manifest specific characteristics. They favor certain times and locales. If neither intelligence nor purpose lies behind these residual UFOs, then they should correlate directly with the number of potential human observers. The facts demonstrate the reverse correlation. Relative to the number of potential observers, 10 times as many sightings occur at 3 a.m. as opposed to other times. So it seems like the UFOs are kind of picking on particular people. But this is the thing I want to mention from his book. Residual UFOs keep pace with human technology and science fiction. Scientists who undertake a serious study of residual UFOs database have noticed that our UFOs adapt to the culture, technology, and historical context of the human witnesses. Throughout the 20th century, a time of rapid advance in human technology, residual UFOs reflected parallel technological advances. The same could be said of the whole history of UFOs. In 1896 and 1897, during a major wave of sightings in many different locations, witnesses described UFOs as strange dirigibles, cigar-shaped, lighter-than-air machines driven by motors attached to propellers. These UFOs were reported to travel faster than any man-made machine, as fast as 150 miles per hour. It is important to note that while a number of patents were taken out in the late 1890s for lighter-than aircraft, no one built or flew such an airship until 1904. In other words, UFOs of the 1890s were slightly ahead of the human technology of their time. Fast forward to the next major wave of sightings in 1947, UFO technology apparently advanced to flying saucers, sometimes moving in formation at speeds of up to 1,700 miles per hour. At the time, jet aircraft existed, but none had yet exceeded the sound barrier, about 700 miles per hour. So they're staying a few steps ahead. Reports indicated that the apparent physical capabilities of our UFOs stayed just ahead of technology of the most advanced human craft. Our UFOs mimic the limits of published science fiction available at the time of the sightings. They've always been around. Human technology, as well as the technology portrayed in science fiction, grew slowly before the Industrial Revolution, prior to 1750, rapidly during the Industrial Revolution, and exponentially after the end of World War II. Could the appearance of UFOs with detailed characteristics resembling advanced flying machines be such a recent phenomenon because human technology only recently catapulted to the level at which flying craft means something to human observers? If that is the case, one may surmise that residual UFOs have always been around, manifesting themselves in forms consistent with culture and technology. This doesn't mean that the people witnessing it are making it up. What it means is that that if there's an intelligence behind the UFOs, if demons are LARPing, for lack of a better term, they are masquerading and they will try to do something that's intelligible to the observer. If I hope that makes sense. All right, these notions can be explored by digging back into human history to see if earlier peoples reported similar experiences with non physical but real entities. Again, you need to read the whole book to kind of make sense of all this because a lot of what is going on is not, it doesn't, a lot of the UFOs don't make sense, if that makes sense. A lot of the UFOs don't follow the laws of physics. Such a study reveals that people throughout all ages of human history have claimed these encounters. Entities such as aerial people, tyrants of the air, cloud ships, zephyrs, and elementals reported throughout history resemble the modern residual UFO phenomenon if one considers the human technology factor. Apart from the particulars of technological advance, little discernible difference can be found between modern sightings and typical ancient sightings. In fact, if one eliminates the really close encounters, then no differences remain. Written records of ancient sightings dating back at least 3,000 years document the same highly luminous balls and multicolored discs breaking up and coming together, darting around at velocities and acceleration that defy the laws of physics. Mentioned a Scottish theologian minister wrote a book describing in detail the paranormal entities that plague Scottish farmers. The characteristics he listed are indistinguishable from the characteristics of the modern residual UFOs, and that is just one example from history. Our UFOs match the scientific literacy of their witnesses. In very close encounters with our UFOs, witnesses often claim to receive messages. So that should remind you of Demi Lovato over here. The content of such messages usually is tailored to impress the witnesses, especially through new scientific revelations, or in Demi Lovato's case, some new age spirituality that she has been already exposed to. This scientific information may not seem accurate to the witnesses, but in fact is not. Before the 20th century, UFO aliens, quote unquote, scare quotes there, claimed the moon as their place of origin. When the impossibility of life on the moon became widely known, such aliens gave a different story. Early in the 20th century, they claimed Venus, and then other places in the solar system. And then we kind of realized those didn't have the capability of supporting life. So then UFO visitors began stating that they had come from nearby stars. So you're seeing an intelligence behind this. They're deceiving. The claims of UFO nauts seem credible until scientific advances prove them false. So now you're even seeing like this consciousness thing. It's kind of even more. I think it's even more accurate in that I've heard Alex Jones talk about these as interdimensional beings. So as opposed to coming from the other side of the universe or something like that, which is just physics wise is impossible. So what you have here is my hypothesis, or the Christian hypothesis, that these are demons deceiving people fits the evidence. They're mimicking things, they're lying to people, but making it somewhat plausible so they buy into it. The claims seem credible. All right, in existing reports, no UFO-derived message has ever proved completely accurate in its astronomical content. Regardless of the fact that they would flunk a graduate level astronomy course, however, their astronomy knowledge does appear to keep pace with the astronomical literacy of the general populace. They make repeat visits to certain witnesses and sites. They have noted that UFOs habitually return to certain sites to certain witnesses. Someone who has seen a residual UFO is much more likely to see another one than in any other person to see his or her first one. Once a site is visited, it's much more likely to be visited again. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole book, so I just wanted to go over the technology aspect. So the technology aspect shows us that there's a deceptive element, but they're smart. They're kind of a few steps ahead of people, but they make it plausible. So you don't see like something going 1,700 miles in the 1890s. You see something going 150 miles in the 1890s, miles per hour. And then something that is more plausible to someone, say, post World War II, is there. And now we have people being encouraged to communicate with demons. So anyway, if is a very extremely bad idea. If anyone, I think I might do this every 3 months or so, depending on. Maybe I'll just keep it open ended. If anybody likes this, please let me know. If you have any questions, again, I try to cover all this. I'll have a lot of links in the description. God bless. Talk to you later. Bye.